Hey, so most people think working harder is the problem, that they're not trying hard enough, they're not waking up early enough, they're not as disciplined as they want to be. But if that was true, I think a lot more people would be successful, they would have what they want. I think the real problem isn't motivation or willpower, it's friction. So I'm going to talk in this video about a few key areas of friction for that I see a lot of people encounter and examples from my own life and walk through how by removing friction, by improving your environment, you end up making success inevitable. So the first piece I'll just say is, having read a lot of biographies on successful people, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of just intense willpower. It seems almost like a calm, steady, progressive growth throughout their careers. And sometimes they have those big overnight successes, but usually it's built on, many years of these like daily wins that they encounter. And so I think that's the big lie is sort of this myth of try harder, be more disciplined. But again, it's really more about removing the friction than it is about increasing the effort. So one example I've brought up in other videos is the idea of before I had this big stack of books I wanted to read, so I literally put them in front of my television so that anytime I wanted to turn on the TV, I would have to move the books out of the way. So that's a system that's setting up my environment in a way where basically I would just sort of, instead of actually moving the books, which took a minute or two, I would just pick off a book from the list and say, you know what, I'll just dig into this, and that helped me read a lot more. It helped me uh, it created friction, but in the opposite way, right? I wanted to work towards those goals, and so that was a big one for me. Another one is just the idea of if you're working, putting your phone in the room or putting your phone on airplane mode, removing the friction around those notifications or those dings, just whatever's pulling your attention away. I find that that's a friction that I can eliminate based on just setting up my environment the right way. Third one I've talked to before back on my old brain on the podcast back in the day, but the idea of just setting up your investments to be automated so that when I get a paycheck, portion of that is already put away towards my portfolio or towards my 401k, my IRA. Setting up systems where it happens automatically, and for me to do the worst behavior actually takes effort, right? And so just setting up any of those automations in a way where it's going to benefit me, and it takes 2 minutes, 5 minutes to set up, but it's a recurring benefit I get all the time. And the last one I'll leave with in terms of removing as much friction as possible. For me, I'm not the most clear-headed when I wake up, so I like to do this activity at the very end of my day that's called Plan Tomorrow Today, where I basically just set up like the two or three big things that I want to get done the next day. Almost ideally, it's the one thing that I want to get done that's going to really drive the progress and move the needle. And so I set up my day where then when I wake up, I go straight into that thing. And the idea of, oh, what's the most important thing, whatever, that thinking was basically done at the end of yesterday. So those are just four key examples I find to eliminate friction. And again, I think the goal isn't to make more progress or push for progress. The goal is really about making it inevitable by setting up the environment and eliminating as much of those little friction moments as possible. So leave a comment if you got something out of this video, a suggestion, or if you got, if you've read a book around this topic. I'm kind of incorporating a few different books I've read on this. The Happiness Advantage is a great one. Flow, a phenomenal book. I recently talked about Seth Godin's The Dip. Talks about a lot of these principles too. And yeah, leave a like if you got something out of the video and subscribe for more content like this. Till next time.